in my example, which was the one and only time so far that I've been protested, that was actually at a university in Florida, of all places. And there were about 30 protesters. It became very clear that most of them were not specifically clear on why they were there. I think they just heard that there was a big bad, conservative or evil right wing person coming to the school. They didn't. Very few of them knew much about me. They didn't really know my views and positions, which became very, very clear even by some of the questions that they asked me. Um, Someone asked me what my opinion was on transgender people being murdered. I was like, well, I don't know what you think I believe to even ask me that question.
Right.
I'm very, 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 very anti-murder. And it was even fun. It was even more interesting because actually the challenge I had before that was because I'm pro-life. And actually someone wanted me to explain my position on that. And then this position, after me explaining how I believe human life is sacred, was immediately followed up by someone wanting to know my view on people being killed. And yeah, it was very strange. And then there were two girls this is two young women, maybe let's say 19, 20, who actually walked out. They challenged me on my view that males should not be allowed to compete with females in sport just because they say that they're women. So women, right? Young women
Yeah,
are
yeah.
arguing. I'm here trying to defend their
Women.
own. And the moment that they gave me the middle finger before walking out, and I asked them a simple question because they were, saying that, well, trans women are women, right? That whole thing. And so I asked them, what is the difference between a male and a trans woman? And they just looked at me blankly, got very mad, gave me the finger, and left. And I was just like, this right here this is the problem. And something I've noticed throughout all of these things that we're discussing is it's not just the lack of deontological principle, but it's also just a sort of massive immaturity that I'm noticing in a lot of these conversations. It's adults acting not even like children, but like toddlers,
Yeah.
right?
And
I find it very strange when we have a grown man or a grown woman, 30, 40, 50, 60 years old, and their only way to react to someone saying something they disagree with or that makes them feel a little uncomfortable is to either lash out and attack them or to try to ban and silence them or to call them names. That just strikes me as extraordinarily immature.
yeah, so I would add to, you're exactly right that there is a level of immaturity, but I think part of that comes from, I like to use the term cognitive miser. Cognitive miser is someone who is intellectually lazy, right? So most people like to use shortcuts when they're making decisions or taking attitudinal positions because the world is complex, it involves a lot of effort, and most people are intellectually lazy. So let's just find a shortcut to get to where we need to be. And so if someone says, I believe in social justice, I am queer, the Palestinians are being oppressed, there is the bad Jewish Zionists who are oppressing them, and therefore queers for Palestine. Okay. Well, I mean, okay, let's explore this position, queers for Palestine. Someone said it's akin to chickens for Kentucky Fried Chicken. I actually made it fancier. I can't help it. I'm a professor. I said geese for foie gras, right? Because it is literally impossible to imagine someone holding such a position. If you present yourself to the world through your queer identity, and more power to you, then if you're going to then say, well, which of the two societies is going to be more celebratory of my queer identity? Is it Tel Aviv, where it is one of the most gay and queer friendly cities on earth? I mean, short of San Francisco, short of Montreal, where I reside, short of New York, Tel Aviv is a hotbed of gay life. So is that the better life, or is the better position to take the one where in Gaza there's this really beautifully effective conversion program? It's a gravity based conversion program that very, very quickly clears you of your queerness, right? So, again, that it in part comes from immaturity, but it also comes from the fact that coupled with that emotional immaturity is an unwillingness to articulate all of the reasons why you support your position. And that's why in chapter 7 of The Parasitic Mind, my previous book, I talk about how to seek truth. What should be the epistemological tools that you should use in trying to defend a particular position? I don't know if I've said that on the last show that I was on. Would you like me to expand on that a bit? Or
Yeah, sure. Go ahead.
so in that chapter, what I basically argue is that when you're taking a position, a truly important, meaningful position on a substantive topic, then what you need to do is build what I call a nomological network of cumulative evidence. What does that mean? It's a lot of fancy language, but let me explain what it means. So let's say I want to prove to you that toy preferences are sex specific, not because your parents and the patriarchy are sexist and they want to teach Johnny to play with the truck and they want to teach Linda to play with the doll. It's because there is a universality, an evolutionary based and a biological based universality to those toy preferences. The reason why I chose that example in particular is because that's one of the examples that the social constructivists use on their mantle, right? So it's toy preferences from a very young age that then channel the sexist gender roles that boys and girls learn to play. So now I come along and I say, okay, I'm not going to emote hysterically. I'm not going to scream louder than you. I want to try to see if I can put together a set of unassailable evidence that hopefully even my most hostile detractors will have to stop and think about. So how do I do that? I'm not going to build the entire network of cumulative evidence, but I'll give you enough of it that you'll see what the methodology is. Okay. So I can get you data from developmental psychology that shows that even for children who are too young to be socialized, meaning their cognitive development by definition is such that they couldn't have learned those preferences, I could show you that little boys and little girls that are in the pre-socialization stage of their cognitive development already exhibit those sex-specific toy preferences. Now, already, if I stopped the cumulative network right there, it's already a death blow. But I'm not going to stop there. How about, Zuby, I get you data from comparative psychology, which is across species. Comparative, that's what we mean by comparative. We're comparing across animals. I can get you data from animal behavior, from rhesus monkeys, vervet monkeys, and from chimpanzees, showing you that their infants exhibit the same sex-specific toy preferences as human infants do. Okay, now it's looking really bad for the social constructivists, but I'm not going to stop there, Zuby. How about I get you data from a wide variety of cultures? Because you're going to come back at me because you were well trained at Oberlin College. And so you're going to come back to me and say, yeah, but that's just Western constructs. Oh, no problem. How about I get you data from sub-Saharan nomadic tribes that have nothing to do with Western cultures and they exhibit the same preference? Don't worry though, you got an A in your feminist studies at Wellesley. So you're going to say, yeah, but that's only a contemporary thing. No problem. I'm going to get you data from ancient Greece where on the mausoleums, their funerary monuments, little boys and little girls are depicted playing with the exact same toys that little boys and little girls typically play with today. I'll just do one more and then I'll end, but you get the point. How about I get you data from pediatric endocrinology, whereby little girls who suffer from congenital adrenal hyperplasia, which is a endocrinological disorder that masculinizes little girls who suffer from this disorder, while little girls who suffer from that disorder have boy specific toy preferences. So look how I've gotten you data across cultures, across time periods, across animals, across disciplines, all of which triangulate to proving to you that your position that toy preferences are socially constructed is insanely incorrect, right? But here's the problem, to our earlier point. It takes a lot of effort to build that nomological network. It takes intellectual discipline. It takes intellectual commitment. It's a lot easier for me to just scream that Zuby is the black face of white supremacy and move on, because that other thing is reserved for fancy professors. So therein lies the problem, Zuby. These consequential important decisions require effort, but most people want to cut through the muddle of doing the homework and just get to the punchline. That's the problem.
Yeah, for sure. People like to have their very simple heuristics that they can use. And if something falls outside that, then just attack it or call it a demeaning name and carry on.